Hello, everyone. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by all that cloud computing jargon out there, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to unpack a super clear, simple English breakdown of a massive 30-day AWS learning journey. The goal here? To take you from absolute beginner to a highly capable DevOps hero, showing you exactly what DevOps engineers do on a day-to-day basis.
Rather than dragging you through 30 separate individual days of classes, we've organized this whole curriculum into 6 major milestones: the AWS DevOps journey, cloud foundations and security, automation and CI/CD pipelines, serverless and event-driven apps, containers and scaling up, and finally, landing the DevOps job. We're kicking things off with milestone 1, the AWS DevOps journey. And the absolute most crucial point right off the bat here is that this roadmap assumes zero prior experience. Seriously, none. It makes it the perfect starting block. You don't need to know a single thing about AWS or any other cloud provider to jump in. The journey literally just starts by creating a free account and getting the hang of navigating the AWS Management Console. Simple as that. Okay, moving right along to milestone 2, cloud foundations and security. Before you build anything, you've got to understand the ground you're building on, right? So we start by looking at the core difference between private and public clouds. A private cloud is essentially your traditional on-premises server setup. You own the hardware. The public cloud, on the other hand, relies on the massive infrastructure provided by companies like AWS. And you'll see exactly why major global organizations are migrating away from their own expensive private servers and running toward these public cloud platforms. Once you get the gist of the cloud, you have to master IAM. Think of IAM, Identity and Access Management, as the ultimate digital bouncer for your network. It securely manages exactly who gets access to what inside your AWS environment. You're going to learn how to enforce a really strict zero privilege rule. This means setting up users, configuring groups, and locking down policies to keep your cloud highly, highly secure from day one. No VIP access unless it's explicitly granted. Next, we strip away all that confusing networking jargon and talk about VPCs, or virtual private clouds. Think of a VPC as your own isolated private room right inside that massive public cloud. Because listen, you don't just throw an application out there into the wild. You have to build a secure neighborhood around it. This involves carving out subnets, tweaking route tables, and designing a network that completely blocks unwanted outside access. And here's where things get really fun. By day 7, you're not just staring at theory, you're actually combining all these foundational elements into a real resume-worthy project. You'll deploy a real web application, let's say something like Jenkins, right onto an EC2 virtual server. Then you'll wrap it securely in your VPC networking, apply those strict IAM security rules we talked about, and even manage the DNS routing with Route 53 so people can actually find your site on the internet. It's the whole shebang.
All right, let's level up to milestone 3, automation and CI/CD pipelines.
So, instead of manually clicking through endless menus to set up servers, which gets old really fast, you'll learn infrastructure as code, or IAC. Using AWS CloudFormation, you'll figure out how to automatically deploy massive, complex cloud environments just by writing some simple text files and scripts. It's practically magic. It entirely removes the manual labor and, more importantly, the human error from building out your infrastructure. Then, days 11 through 14 are going to walk you step by step through a complete CI/CD pipeline. That's continuous integration and continuous deployment. This is exactly how modern software gets delivered today. You pull code from a repo with AWS Code Commit, push it through an automated code pipeline, compile it over in Code Build, and finally automatically push it to live servers using Code Deploy. Mastering this assembly line flow, that's an absolute requirement for any DevOps role. Now for milestone 4, serverless and event-driven apps. Here, we're basically stripping away the servers entirely. You'll learn how to combine the monitoring power of AWS CloudWatch with Python-powered Lambda functions. And what does that actually mean for you? It means you can run code without ever provisioning, managing, or patching a single physical or virtual server machine. You just write your Python script, hand it over to Lambda, and AWS handles the rest. It's incredibly efficient. And doing this unlocks what we call event-driven architecture. This is a hugely popular enterprise setup right now. By using CloudWatch events and EventBridge, automated workflows just happen instantly the second they're triggered by a specific action. For example, a file gets uploaded or a system alarm trips. And boom, your Lambda function instantly fires back a response. Hiring managers absolutely love seeing this skill. Entering milestone 5, containers and scaling up. So when it comes to containers, where should you actually spend your precious time? Well, AWS naturally promotes their own Elastic Container Service, or ECS. But this roadmap makes a strategic pivot to focus heavily on Kubernetes using AWS EKS. Why? Because practically speaking, Kubernetes is the gold standard industry orchestration platform. It is exactly what hiring managers are desperately looking for on resumes right now. You're also going to learn autoscaling. This brilliantly solves the classic, expensive nightmare of unpredictable internet traffic. Think about the Christmas shopping rush. Autoscaling automatically spins up extra server capacity to handle all that massive load. But the best part? Once the rush is over, it seamlessly scales everything back down to normal, so the company isn't bleeding money on unused servers. Finally, we arrive at our last milestone, number 6, landing the DevOps job. A massive highlight of this late-stage curriculum is Day 29, which is a dedicated deep dive into cloud migration. This is designed to directly prepare you for one of the absolute toughest, most common technical interview questions you're going to face. You'll learn all the different migration strategies and tools out there so you can sit in that interview chair and confidently explain exactly how you'd move a company's old legacy systems straight into the AWS cloud. You know what's really interesting about this entire 30-day plan is actually what it leaves out. It completely ignores the typical grind of just chasing paper certifications. Instead, it prioritizes real, tangible projects. By focusing on Kubernetes, event-driven workflows, and full CI/CD pipelines, you're building a rock-solid portfolio. You're getting practical experience you can actually show off to employers, proving beyond a doubt that you know how to do the day-to-day job. So now that the jargon is cleared away and the path from zero to hero is set right in front of you, the only question left is, what are you going to build first? I highly encourage you to dive in and get your hands dirty with that Day 7 project right away. And hey, if you have enjoyed, then like the video and subscribe to Zindagital Tech Hub and share it to your friends and family. Catch you next time.